Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Supervisors Friday morning emergency meeting, October 2nd. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Any discussion on it? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I feel all the visitors here today for concerns on the agenda, so we'll take that time up later. We'll do the approval of the resolution. Oh, there he is.
Do you want me to read the resolution just so that everybody knows?
Yep.
Okay. Resolution establishing Mills County procurement request for proposal bid and bid selection compliant and appeal procedures. Mills County has approved and abides by a formal procurement policy that ensures. Can I interrupt? Sure. Would they like to have a copy of this? I don't know. So you want a copy? Okay. You want me to read it? Just take that one. I can make more copies. We don't need any more. They don't want any. You can have it. Here's another one. I just need two. Oh, we'll kill some trees, Larry. It's not as nice a paper as yours. Okay, so Mills County Board of Supervisors finds it's in the best interest of Mills County as citizens, its agents, contractors, subcontractors, service providers, and suppliers to formalize and establish compliant and appeal procedures for parties they may wish to contest or appeal any procurement request for proposal, bid, or bid selection made or received by Mills County. It is resolved by the Mills County Board of Supervisors that effective immediately, the Mills County procurement request for proposal, bid, and bid selection compliant and appeal procedures are hereby established as follows. Any complaint regarding the procurement or request for proposal process, a specific RFP or specific bids resulting from an RFP must be submitted in writing to the Mills County Board of Supervisors in care of the Mills County Auditor no less than 48 hours prior to the date and time for final decision or selection of bids. Any appeal of a decision selection must be submitted in writing to the Mills County Board of Supervisors in care of the Mills County Auditor no less than 48 hours following final decision on selection of bids, or no less than 48 hours after the discovery of information or evidence giving rise to such appeal. Any such complaint or notice of appeal which is found on its face to be clearly mireless or frivolous, including such complaint or appeal by an anonymous party, will not be considered and will be immediately disregarded by the Board of Supervisors. Any such timely complaint or notice of appeal meeting the threshold of reasonably appearing to bear some merit or concern will be reviewed and investigated by the Board of Supervisors or its designee within a reasonable time following the receipt of such qualifying complaint or notice of appeal. During such review and investigation, all associated and related RFP, bid selection, and contracting processes shall be temporarily suspended pending a determination on the corresponding complaint or appeal. The Board of Supervisors shall provide a formal written response to any such complaint or notice of appeal within 10 days of receipt of the same. If the review and investigation of the same cannot be reasonably and thoroughly completed in that period of time, the Board of Supervisors shall provide written notice of the need for additional time, which shall not exceed an additional 10-day period. That was a whole lot easier to read than the sexually oriented business.
I'm just saying. That's been a few years ago.
That's yeah. Still in my head. Do you know who's on? The color, who's color one? Did we? Do we have to connect anything? Oh, it's done? Okay.
Up to you to approve it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I make a motion to approve the resolution.
A second. Been a motion made and seconded to approve resolution number 2035, establishing a Mills County procurement request for proposal and bid selection, complaint and appeal procedures. Any discussion? Not. Roll call?
Crouch.
Yes.
Benton. Yes. Mayberry's absent.
Want me to sign this one, or?
You can sign mine. Do we know who the other caller is, Richard? On the phone?
Could be Cox,
Oh, okay.
or,
Yeah, I want to ask them.
or I don't know, whether Nixon said they were coming, so.
Well, no, we're gonna be on
Nixon's
the.
here.
Was it?
Is that Nixon on the phone?
Yes, Nixon's present.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Who else?
Well, just on, we got Alexis, we got Terry, we got Mike, and we
I'm
got
talking about-
Sal.
So, you don't have any other bidders?
No,
Just, Nixon?
not on. It just looks like Nixon's the only one on.
And I don't know whether Cox is gonna show up or not. They said they would try and get here, so. So does Alexis wanna speak first, or what?
Well, I think we have people on here that wish to speak on behalf of their, Ryan put himself on first, so I think we should let him speak to whatever.
Okay. This is strictly for discussion and, for the demo contract, so, you know, it's been quite a process here, but we still, you know, would like and try and make it a contract that we can all, agree upon. We've done a lot of discussion. I've called and talked to more construction people in the last week than I have in a lifetime, but anyway, Ryan, if you wanna start off, do you have any comments or anything?
The only thing I've got an agenda for was if you guys have any questions for me that we were able to, that I'm able to speak. So,
I have a list of questions I'll bring up later here, but,
okay, I didn't know, we were told this was only gonna be a work session.
right,
I didn't realize, and we were told they wouldn't be on today, so I didn't realize, that this is what it is. We were gonna call it, this is what it was gonna be.
well, they're part of our team and stuff that's,
No,
we're
I
trying to
understand,
put
we
this
were told
together,
they
right?
wouldn't be on today.
Well, certain things have come up, so that's why they're
Oh,
on
okay.
here
No.
to answer questions.
Well,
if
but
you
I'll
want.
have more for you on Tuesday that we have, for you, that's all we need. But if you have any questions for me today, through, of any qualifications, OSHA,
Right.
FEMA, anything like that, I have that, and I'll have that for you on Tuesday.
Corey?
You wanna come up here?
Sure.
This meeting does have an action portion of it,
We're not actually making
But
any
it-
decision on.
but it's on there, correct?
It
Says,
no,
discussion, just says,
discussion.
it's basically discussion demo.
Okay, that's
Question
fine.
answer.
Tuesday, when they're making a
That's fine,
decision.
That's
then
fine.
they got a,
Okay.
then they got a budget work, they got a board work session for
Okay.
this.
So a lot of these questions are gonna be somewhat aimed at SWEPCO because I understand the board is, you know, maybe has a few concerns. But the first thing is, who put together this packet, the Mills County request for bids demolition services?
Can you hear that, Alexis?
Yeah, SWEPCO started it, but we worked with Homeland Security, SWEPCO, Mills County, legal. It's all was a group effort and approved by Homeland Security, Mills County Legal Department, and Mills County before it was sent out.
Is this the only version of it? The one that I have in my hand? Was there multiple versions or just one?
There was just one. There was an addition to the, we had additional information on our website. It was available on our website, and there was an additional information, but it wasn't necessarily a requirement of the bid. We just added some information about some contract labor work that could be available, and the septic well requirement.
So as I go through the bid documents that was put together by this team that's here, there's a complete bid includes package on it. Evidence of ability to meet insurance requirements and bonding requirements. If I understand correctly, the first contractor which would have submitted maybe the lowest bid has been rejected because it didn't have a complete packet. Is that correct?
They did not, yes, and I was going to bring that up. They did not provide a letter from their insurance company as the rest did, stating that they had bonding ability.
Okay.
Ability to bond.
Okay.
That's correct.
That was the first one or the second bid?
Second bid, I
Okay.
believe.
So the first bid is, can I use this for a second? Is that okay, Larry? I have that, but I just need the name of the individual. IR&T dozing and excavating. What they have no work experience. So do they have a complete bid?
No.
Okay. If you do not put in that your evidence of ability to meet insurance requirements and bonding requirements, do they have a complete bid?
Sorry, what was your exact? If they didn't provide
if
evidence of bonding or insurance,
Do
they do not have a complete bid.
Okay,
That's correct.
so then the third bid is a company named Light Construction. Light Construction gave a responsive bid that meets everything required that was submitted. We are by far leaps and bounds the most responsible contractor. We don't have to worry about any of the problems with the septic stuff because it's going to all be the work that's performed in the contract documents. And I find it very hard for me to believe that our company that has the most bonding capabilities of anybody in this county and worked in 18 different states that never had to go to a bid letting in 17 of those states for the NDOR, MoDOT, Texas DOT, Arizona DOT, Ohio, West Virginia, Minnesota. I find it hard to believe why we're having any additional meetings. In my opinion, and in my company's opinion, my attorney's opinion, there is no other reason than a complete approval for our company at this time. Anything else would be viewed as squandering the ability for working right now, and also it would really raise a big ethical question. Does my bid package include everything that was needed to be done?
Yes, and we said it did.
Okay.
Yes.
Am I low bid?
And
am I low bid?
yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I need. So my question to the board is, why are we having any additional meetings?
Sorry, I
Is
can't.
it, wait a second, I had a question. Is by definition a low bid, is Nixon on the phone here?
Nixon is not qualified.
What?
Nixon is the one that did not, I just asked Alexis.
No, that's this one.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not.
Evidence of ability to meet the insurance requirements and bonding requirements. Nixon did not put a bonding piece into their bid package.
Yeah, that's correct.
And unfortunately, I'm not trying to bash you, Nixon. We do bids all across the country. We've lost jobs by $1,000 on a $3 million job, and we've won jobs by $1,800 on a $5 million job. So it's an unfortunate situation, and it happens. But per the contract documents, there
What
should
exactly was left out of my packet?
your evidence of ability to meet the bonding requirements.
That wasn't in his packet, was it?
No,
No.
it was not.
That paperwork was turned in. Mills County.
We
The-
never
the
received it.
bonding,
We never received it, did we, Alexis?
You have it, double check.
Our office didn't receive it. If it was received separately, we did not. I'm looking at the complete packet that from Nixon, and you have the insurance requirement, but you don't have anything stating your ability to meet the bonding requirement.
And I did call their insurance company yesterday that was on their bid packet, and they said they could bond within 24 hours, but it's still incomplete. That's not the point. I realize, yes, anybody can get bonded in 24 hours, but it's not in their packet, so.
And one other important thing that I want to make very, very known is our company bids projects weekly. We bid 5 to 10 projects every week. We get maybe one per week. We don't bid projects and then hope we get them and then hire people. We have to bid projects so we have jobs for our 50 employees. That's what's important. Does light construction want to make profit? Absolutely. But we need employees, so when we have a great project, we have them. We have the skilled labor, we have the skilled people. So, in my opinion, there should not be any other discussion because we've met all the qualifications. We're above board of anybody on this list. National Concrete Cutting Company, great company. John Cox, great company. They're above our bid. That's why we bid. That's why when the county bids rock and you get a bid from Shelbrook Construction, you get a bid from the guy in Red Oak, Bob Smiley, when he used to have crushed aggregates, he can get 17 of them in a row. If he's low competent bid, he's low competent bid. If you look at a new excavator from Caterpillar and you get a bid from Ziegler and you get a bid from Nebraska Machinery, if Ziegler on the exact same piece of equipment is less expensive, you as a public have to take the lowest responsible bid. So I think we've wasted 10 days of being able to get through all the facets, get the closings, and we're causing a problem with the system. That's a very simple system that somehow got turned into a tornado. We do these daily. This is nothing new to us.
And I'm not gonna say anything in our defense, Corey, it's just that I don't understand all of it. I don't want a mistake at it.
It's not your guys' job. It was, in my opinion, it was SWEPCO's.
And we're working with them and so on, and I realize that, yes, it's taken some time, but I just wanna make it right, period. And I think
we
Carol,
wanna make it right,
right.
yeah.
you know, so,
So,
To reiterate, do I qualify as the most with the responsive bid?
Yes.
Do I quantify as, am I also, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean, it's delayed just a second.
Okay, so we did a preliminary scoring to help the board, but we are not authorized to make any decisions on behalf of the board. We give the board the information, and they have to take that information and make their own decision. So I just want to make that clear. When we did the preliminary scoring, I'm just going to be completely transparent. When we did the preliminary scoring, we came to looking at the bids given and the cost and everything. Light construction came out with the highest scoring. There were some that were very close, but light construction did come out with the highest scoring. We gave that preliminary scoring to Mills County, but that was not, Mills County is the responsible entity to make the decision. So I feel that we gave Mills County all the information. I will say that I think this process just has taken a little bit longer because we all want to make sure that the right contractor is hired at the front end, because we have a very short timeline between closings and the deadline of 90 days to demo all the properties. So, I think the board is, trying to make that, make that decision that way. And yeah, so there was some miscommunication up front, and multiple. We're all working together, as Richard said. We're all working together through this. This is new for everyone. This is a very large project, and it's up to the board to make the best decision for them.
And going into the next piece of that is of a large project, maybe for the county, a large project for us. This isn't a large project, but that goes back into the responsible contractor phase. When you go to the responsible contractor, it's the equipment that you currently own. It's the employees that you currently have, and the history of your bonding capabilities, what you've done, your success rates at those jobs, and have you ever had a claim on a bond? So that you could have 7 more contractors here in this town, and they still won't meet my responsible contractor through my same company.
Corey, what you had done Tuesday, explained this bonding thing to me, explained what it's all about. I want to thank you, because my questions, sometimes I look at the guys, they're kind of rolling their eyes, but I'm really learning a lot. Not just the frosting on the cake, what really makes the whole ordeal. So, and I guess, as we had looked at these 2 low bids, which is kind of like comparing apples to oranges. I couldn't understand why Nixon was half. So again, it's digging into understanding and such like. So when I get it, it's kind of like farming. You waste days. It takes a lot to recoup. But and that's why we're meeting today. We got to roll, and we know this. So it's easy for you guys to get things going.
Sure, and I understand that, and that's one of the biggest issues.
I believe our office spoke with Sandy, their SWIPCO, about the performance bond, and they said that paperwork had to be turned in when the job was awarded, which I don't think it's been awarded just yet. So we are capable of bonding. We've done multiple projects in the last 30 days of bonding.
That's a performance bond and proof of it's not the same, but the performance bond is required before the contract starts. The bid documents before just shows it, so it gives the people that are bidding or that are looking at the project the comfort level before they can even move in to the responsibility portion of the contract.
Yeah, we needed something in writing to show the ability. Not necessarily. So the bonding, actual bond was not required, but the ability in writing was required.
Correct.
My bonding company didn't turn in something saying that we were capable of getting bonded for this project, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's talking on that, isn't it?
Yeah. I
thought it was his wife. Or his. Okay, I apologize. I didn't mean to be speaking over. I thought he was talking to me, kind of.
Okay,
And that's all I have.
okay.
I mean, I think it's important to, reiterate the facts that we understand the contractual obligations in this, and we understand that the county is the owner on this, and we understand that SWIPCO is working somewhat like an engineering company or an architectural company, not really in the same facets, but the same. So that's what I have.
Okay.
Do you have anything for me?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
I got some questions. We'll have. Okay, next on the list is, Courtney with Nixon Construction.
No, it's not Courtney, but
Or
it's Nixon. It's
Nixon.
Nixon's on there.
Hello.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, do you have any questions for us, or you want any concerns brought to the surface?
Well, my only concern was, I guess, that bonding issue now. I was aware that all my stuff was turned in. It said on the sheet that we received that we were certified for this project. That's the reason why I'm calling in today.
Well, I'm not saying that you're not certified, but when I called your insurance company yesterday and talked to them about bonding, they said, well, yeah, they're bondable. We can do it in 24 hours. But it wasn't in your packet when it was turned into SWIPCO, and that was told to us. So all the other ones met that part of it. So I'm I'm just sorry to say that.
What, who did you speak to at my insurance company there?
Just I have to find your bid. Oh, that's Terry's.
And I guess I'm just wondering what's so different about this project than all the other bonding projects we've done this year as far as turning the paperwork in for bond, being able to be bonded or not, you know?
Well, it was,
I mean, no job starts in hours after it's let out anyway.
It's a federal requirement that we have it.
it's a federal requirement that we come in with. I believe it was Sherry Hallis. Is that correct?
Okay.
And I have a note written right here. It says that you are bondable, but it was not turned in with your bid packet, so it was incomplete. Sorry to say.
We'll go back to that email. Yeah, I'll have to go through my email threads here and see what happened. And
Okay.
that paperwork should have been turned into you guys.
Okay. Mr. Cox, if you want to come to the table, you have any questions or anything you want to ask us before we start asking questions of you people? Okay.
And you turned in a,
Yeah, everybody
Bond.
had, every one of them had
Everybody did,
everything,
but
except Nixon.
except Nixon.
Well, and the other two that were excluded.
Right.
Yeah, and there were two others that didn't.
well, we've all gotta play the game fair. I guess when the, six of them all turned in their bonding papers,
Except for the other two that were excluded, didn't have
These
everything
two.
in their packets. So the second one, and then there was that Southwest Iowa, and they got excluded. The, what's her name,
IR&T.
yeah, them and Southwest Iowa were both excluded prior to.
Has no bonding.
They didn't meet all of the criteria in the bonding package that they turned in.
Okay, there's some concerns and stuff the county has here. May sound irrelevant to you people, but to us, we think it's important. After removing the basements and septics and things, how do you intend to bring the area back to a grade level? I realize this is gonna take two different kinds of dirt because you have a fill dirt and then they're requiring 6 inches of black dirt on top. And being you're setting first, Mr. Sell, we'll go with you and down the line.
Well, first of all, I want to say, I'm not gonna get into where I'm degrading anyone else.
No, that's fine. It's
At
just,
all. What I will tell you is this, during the last meeting, everything you were told is not what the specs say, and you guys need to know this also, just of the way you do the job. You're told most of the job will be concrete because of footings and so on. But just so you guys also know what you're gonna have left when it comes back, that's not the FEMA specifications, that the most of these footings will not come out of the ground.
and I've read the
No, I'm just,
instructions things and
I'm
so,
trying to explain to you, because this has to do with the fill also, right? So you cannot disturb any grade 24 inches outside of the walls, and then you can only go 2 foot deep past that grade. So I know the Canes and Carnes houses were brought up last meeting about the footings and all the concrete. All those footings won't come out of the ground.
and we
you
realize
guys-
that.
And, okay, because I don't know if you realized it, Carol, but last meeting, it was said that all those footings have to come out and stuff.
No, the only
So-
thing that has to come out is a septic tank.
I'm speaking about under the houses.
Right, and I understand that you punch a hole in the basement floor, you break the walls off 2 foot below grade, bury the rest of it. That I'm fine with. I'm just asking
Yep, okay.
where are you gonna come up with the types of fill that's required for this project?
Okay, number one, we have, where the Lincolns have sand that we've had, that this came up on that we cleared, a road for them, and they want to get rid of, that's right across right down by Canes and Cars.
Okay, okay.
And then, of course, the requirement through FEMA is 4 to 6 inches of black dirt fill that have to go on top of that.
Right.
At a certain compaction level with your lifts. The sand will be done in lifts. The last lift will be the 4 to 6 inches of black dirt.
Okay. And just to let you know, the county and stuff, as far as an extraction fee, will be waived on this because it's a county project, we feel, okay. But you will have to fill out permit forms and stuff, where you're getting the dirt and stuff from. I'm sorry, I didn't explain that at first, but, okay. Mr. Light?
Well, we own and operate 3 different borrows in the area, so the soil, I mean, everything's gonna be pretty self-explanatory. We also are able to take most of the concrete from any of the job sites, and have it recycled onto our site, and then bring the topsoil back from our topsoil borrow, and or bring our lean clay fill material back in there. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. So we don't have to get permission, we already own them.
Hey, Richard,
Yes, sir.
this is Terry. So I just want to reiterate one thing, and I'm not hearing it. I just want to throw it out there. When it comes to this fill material, because of where you're at, and because of the sensitivity of the area, when it comes to archaeological and anything beyond that, that fill material cannot be just randomly stripped from fields or any previously undisturbed sites. Because if that starts happening, it will turn into an archaeological issue where those areas will have to be investigated prior to that actually being done. So the key is to make sure that where the fill is coming from is either from the contractor's borrow site previously, or their own borrow site, their own site itself, or somewhere that they've already contracted with that they have access to and have had access to in the past.
Which is exactly what we are. Our borrow sites are owned by us, they have their own
Right.
permits, and they've had the RT.
To be clear, ours is also from, they'll never ever go below grade from where, ours actually aren't borrowed. It's actually.
I know where.
You know
Yep,
where it is.
yep, yep.
And we, by the way, I wanna tell you too, we own that material. And, it is on Lincoln's, but we work out a deal where we own the material.
Okay. Mr. Cox, you're next. Okay. You know, you can have all this debris and stuff, where will it all be going to? Are you going to recycle some, you're going to stockpile some, you're going to the landfill, and so on,
All of the above, okay? So the metal needs to be recycled, and we do recycle it, and that's what we've done, in the past. We did your Mills County cleanup, debris cleanup,
Right,
as
right.
you know, and, when we did that, we did recycle everything, and, we also did, through FEMA, which, you know, we've met with, we've had calls with before the debris cleanup, and also during this process. And I apologize, I haven't got you my FEMA certification, and you'll have that before Tuesday. But a lot of the other issues are air conditioners. You can't just grab them, pull them off, and the Freon gets let go.
Yep.
The air
No.
conditioners, even the refrigerators, have to be bled down before they can be recycled. And there's several companies with the metal part of it that we work with that, that recover that material. Well, we recover it and then scrap, of course. And then, as far as any waste, and when hazardous waste is found, which it will be, and it's as little as a FEMA requirement, I have my hazardous materials technician license, which I'm very clear on everything, on the specifications for FEMA, containing that, getting it to the right places, and then removing it also. Some of that can't be removed without that license. As far as after the hazardous materials part is done, I will also tell you this: 4 of our employees have the asbestos license. That's not anything to do with this bid, except if a lot of the times what we'll find is you'll find this during a demolition because it was covered up. So they've been trained to identify this, and then we're also licensed to abate it also, which we're the only ones licensed in Southwest Iowa.
So if material is found during discovery on that, it will then default back to the original contractor who got the removal bid.
Right.
Just as an FYI.
No, and they were the question. I answering the question about what need to be done. Now the other part is about that is if any of those turn into the Rackhams, which is in the you'll see in your bid packet. A lot of times if they're structurally unsound or whatever, and that does have to turn in, we are licensed to do that and have done it and have the qualifications to do it. But the rest of it, Richard, yes, will go to the landfill.
Right.
After you remove those hazardous materials, after you, and of course we recycle the concrete also.
Right.
It'll all be ground if it's from us.
Right. Corey?
Well, I guess our response is much simpler. I mean, you guys put together a contract. We're just gonna follow every contract document. The county's gonna supply a person that's gonna be there monitoring it. So
Right.
everything that you have in your contract is what we need to
Well,
abide by.
the thing I'm kind of worried about, maybe the board is okay, you start piling up steel and stuff. I don't think it's allowed to do it on something you've already worked on or some other piece of property unless you have authority from, that's what we're looking at. We don't want stacks of debris sitting here and you're working into the 60, 70 day area and it's still sitting here and you keep piling on it.
Well, the way we have it bid with the amount of trucks and equipment we have is nothing's ever gonna be sitting.
Okay.
Well, and I want to be clear about something, Richard. Like a house will only have one I-beam, and then that material may sit there, at least for us, until we get down to the rebar. We aren't going to send on the
Right.
county roads one truck with one I-beam
Right.
somewhere. So, but as far as stockpiling it from several jobs, no, we have an agreement, and this has already been worked out with
Okay.
Alters, which we've been training or with their insurance company, that we're able to move their trailers from one job to the other. So that trailer from Alters can sit, and eventually when it's full, it can
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Which is better for the roads also.
Right. Mr. Cox?
All C&D will go to landfill, concrete will be recycled, scrap metal will be recycled. We have our own containers and trucks and handlers.
And you do all understand the capping of wells and removing of septics, what has to take place there. I won't ask and it's like you say, it's all in the bid packet and stuff.
It's not capping of wells, it's plugging of wells, just so we're clear. There's a major difference. The DNR requires, and that was in your addendum from SWIPCO. The DNR is going to require that the wells are plugged, not capped. But that was part of that addendum capping would be that, is you have to dig down 4 foot and put a PVC cap on the casing of the well. And what's required with plugging is they have to be filled with bentonite.
Tyler, would you look that up in the?
It's on the addendum, it got through the contract document.
Right here, it's plug.
It's part of the bid.
And that also has to be done with a licensed well contractor.
Right.
You can't just decide that you wanna do it yourself.
And I have, for your guys' benefit, I have talked to public health up here. Mike Sukup said he would be more than willing to drive by. He really didn't want to get out into the area and stuff with you, but if you set the septic there, he can drive by and put a paint mark on it. We're okay with that, and so is he. So that's just another issue we have to go by. Okay, this is one that's kind of, it's kind of iffy, but it's, best practice for dust control, soil erosion, nuisance drainage, possible debris and muck concerns on the county roads and the project sites. When you're hauling, I know when you're hauling debris and stuff, you try not to put too much on, but if you do drop something and somebody runs over it, I'm quite sure you're all covered, but these are some concerns that we have. We just don't want the sheriff have to chase you guys down and so on. Anybody got any questions on that, about it?
Richard, I will add to that, there's a requirement through the FRP and also FEMA that the demolitions cannot be done when it's wet on the site, so.
Well, and I know that, and I may not be, but I understand the bottom ground in gumbo, and gumbo sticks to everything for a while.
Right.
So,
The engineer's aware of this, and you all work on this project. He is aware of this, and just coordination with him on the rural area. There's gonna be some unique, transportation challenges for you. I trust you, stuff and bigger rigs for them, so it's no different when we did debris removal, in the area. We used to be country, roads, stuff, and what we need to know when you're there, KTF partial closure lane, so let the public know when the normal route out, there's, public changes. So, you're aware of this contract, we're enforcing, we're gonna do it, in this case, got a great department. Just so you know where you're at, where you're working, so they can write off the side of it.
and the last question I have is, if you were chosen for this project, would you be able to complete the project in a specific amount of time, which is 90 days, without requesting change orders? That's kind of a loaded question, gentlemen.
You want me to wait to go first?
You can't let her, you just,
That's right. Corey, would you have a problem with that, trying to complete in 90 days?
No, like I said at the beginning, this project isn't anywhere near a difficult project for our company, so there's no issues at all. When you say the change orders, depends on what type of change orders come up. Kind of like what Terry was saying earlier, if for some reason an archaeological problem came up, well then that's sure gonna put a hamper on something. If we end up having, some other issues that arise by homeowners, lawsuits, or something like that, there's gonna be some things, but the way the contract reads, the way that works, absolutely not.
So Terry, if, I understand, like Corey says, we kind of, delayed about 10 days, and we're now in first part of October. And for the next couple of weeks, it looks dry, but go to Iowa, we have no idea. So if these guys get into trouble, is it an act of God to try and extend the 90 days? Or, do they get penalized in 90 days?
Like an act of
As
So,
an act of
so here's
Congress
the
instead
thing.
of God?
Well, no, there is a way to get an extension. It's very difficult. It's something that, FEMA region the regional administrator has to be the one that approves it. It's on a case by case basis. Typically in the past, the only, opportunities that we've, even entertained the idea of requesting it, it has to be, it was extreme circumstances. What's considered extreme? In one case, it was the weather dipped down to -30, with a wind chill of -50. Equipment can't, equipment can't run, so they had to extend that out. Another one, which we know all too well in your area, things went underwater. We understand that. The situation though the way that it works in FEMA's eyes and in the regional administrator's eyes, the extenuating circumstances has to have occurred. It cannot be something we forecast out, period. It just can't. We've done this in the past where if, say, a forecast down the road, even under river gauges, show that area is going to be flooding in the next 5 to 10 days. They don't care. It had better have flooded and be underwater, and we can prove it before we ever entertain the idea of asking for an extension. But I'm going to explicitly state this. I do not want to be requesting an extension if it's absolutely not necessary. And what I mean by that is, let's say a contractor comes back, and they've done this to me in the past, where they'll come back and say, we're just swamped, or there's too many of them, we need a day or two to finish up the project. No, figure it out type thing. Because those type of situations, they do not like to request it, or they do not like to approve them. And if it becomes a habitual thing when it comes to that in FEMA's eyes, they will start denying that. If we do not make that 90-day mark, it becomes very difficult, or becomes very challenging when it comes to the county, when it comes to your grants itself. We have never missed a 90-day window or been supplanted on that 90 days. We do know that there are stipulations within the contract, within the grant agreement, that if that is not met, FEMA has the ability to not only penalize the county, but theoretically they have the ability to completely shut down the grant itself as a whole, and then put the county or the applicant in check for future funding as well. So it becomes very, it's very necessary that we all adhere to those strict guidelines. We know 90 days is terrible. It is very difficult. This is why we're front loading everything before we ever get into the process of acquiring properties. There are some people in our office that, and we actually started doing this for a while, is when it comes to these winter months, your November, December, January, at one point we put a moratorium on even doing acquisitions, because knowing that the weather is going to turn pretty quickly when it comes to the temperature itself and or snow. I don't do that. You guys have to know that when you're acquiring these properties, and know that I don't care if there's 5 feet of snow on the ground, that property has to become open space compliant within 90 days.
Okay, that's good to know. And I understand the big equipment, hell or high water. I was just worried about the trucks. If they could still be moving on soft roads or however.
So Terry, just to make one thing clear on that, if that circumstance came up, we have, in our company, we have a seeding crew and erosion control crew. If it's middle of February, everything can be graded, but surely you don't want us to put the seed on it until the spring.
No, absolutely not. And quite frankly, the seeding part of it is not, seeding and grading honestly is not necessarily part of the 90-day. It's part of the overall completion. It's not part of the 90 days. The 90-day is become open space compliant as all of the structures and all of the material as part of the structures have been removed from the site, and the holes have been filled and that's it. So if you still have to go back and do grading, seeding, or some kind of stabilization, that's fine. That could be done at any point. So you're absolutely right. If it's in the middle of January, no, I don't want to see you guys putting down seed, because that's basically a waste of time and money. Wait until the spring.
Thank you.
Richard, did you want me to answer the question? Can you repeat it? I didn't get a chance to answer. Did you have it listed there?
On the bottom here where it says, if you're chosen,
Yeah, what was that?
would you be able to complete the project in a specific amount of time without requesting change orders?
Right, okay. So, two things that I have for you. Number one, and most importantly, like Corey says, they're much bigger, and they bid jobs every week. They got a lot of jobs. They have 50 employees working on jobs right now. We don't. We have 3 crews, and we're working in Perry, Iowa right now, and we're working on one of our properties right now in Glenwood. And then, but what we will do is, and what we're guaranteeing you is, this job will absolutely be 100% our priority. We will move equipment on the very first day that it's let, so we never get behind the 8 ball on timing. Now on the bonding part, and I don't take anything as an insult, and I don't think he meant it as an insult. He's definitely has the most bonding power, but one thing you have to understand about that bonding is, if you're bonded for $80 million and you get, the large levy project coming up that's going up for bid here soon. And if that's a $20 million levy project, that the penalties are X, Y, and Z on that, and you use up your bonding for that, you only have a certain amount of bonding left. Now, where I will take, where I do disagree a little bit is, a bonding company wouldn't let you bid 100 of these jobs just because of the price point. The bonding companies also look at the capabilities of doing it. So if we were sitting here and think of our time limits and so on, and like Pacific Junction, we're just talking about 2 of them locally. If there's 100 of these going on, the bonding company is not going to bond you to do 100 of them, because there's not enough equipment. But what I would tell you is, we are bringing all our equipment back from Perry. We're going to have our equipment that we have here right now locally, and we also have other people that we've spoke with that we're guaranteed to have employees and equipment from them. I don't think it'll be needed at all. The only thing that could possibly come up is if we get 4 foot of snow and it doesn't melt for a month, and getting things in and out. We can make that happen. We've made those. When we did the debris cleanup for the county, I came to this table, and you guys were under a very tight timeline with the DOT when they sent their mission out. It had a date on it. We had to meet that date, and if we didn't meet that date, the DOT was leaving town, and that material was going to get left here in your guys' hands. Words can come out of anybody's mouth, including mine. We've done it for you. We sat there, and Carol, I was sitting in this chair, and you said, "Okay, Ryan, we're going to trust you. You better get it done," and we did, and we got it done. Now, as far as the change order part of it, there's many contractors that make their entire living on change orders. Okay, during that process of the debris cleanup, Corey, the engineer, came back to us, and we actually completed that project under the time frame that the DOT allowed for that mission. There was more people that had stacked stuff out. As we know, that process was moving all the time, right? Right after the flood. So there was many homes, many places where that stuff got stacked after we even left. We'd go to different parts of the county, clean it up, and then somebody down the street would pile more stuff out, and then we'd have to go back. There was another house a couple houses that got missed. Corey asked me to do a change order on it. Our bid price was until that very end time. And what we did is we credited back that time to the county that we didn't use up. It was a bid. We could have signed a change order. We could have got paid for what we signed up for and what we didn't, we credited the county, and you can confirm that with court. And we gave you credit for that. So there did end up being a change order. It was very minor, I think, $2,000 or $3,000. But we credited back several hours worth of work for our equipment and our manpower to do it. So what I will tell you is we will bring every single person back from up on all our jobs, and this will be our number one priority. We will have equipment moved to the job the day that the county attorney releases the closing. There will be no other delays. We aren't working on Mid-American. We're not working on levies. We're not working anywhere else. This would be we're not working Pacific Junction. This would be our number one priority. There's no excuses.
Okay, and Richard, it seems like it's directed to me.
I wasn't directing anything to anybody. I'm telling you.
Well, we're working at Mid-American Energy, and we're working on the levies, and we're working at Pacific Junction, and we bond jobs all the time. We understand bonding evidently more than Mr. Sell, because an aggregate on a bond exactly means that we can do 100 of the $800,000 jobs at a time. A single limit bond is different than an aggregate bond. So regardless, though it will be change orders. Change orders can go up and change orders can also go down. You might have change orders that save you money. So it's the contract documents. There's nothing, I mean, the notes that we're taking are silly, but yeah, no, an aggregate is not the same thing as a single limit job.
And in defense of that question, we had some concerns when Nixon was a part of this and so we just decided that it was a good to ask everyone because their bid was so incredibly low. We understand there are change orders, that sort of thing, but we didn't want to see the change orders come in over what the next bid in line is. So that is why that question is there. I'm sorry.
Cox, you have anything to say?
No, we have a problem with the time frame and won't be any change with it.
Well, we will be making our decision on Tuesday morning. I can't give you a time because I don't know the agenda
It's
yet.
on the agenda, I believe it is 10:30.
10:30?
Yeah, I can check with Jackie for sure, but
Okay.
I think we put it on for 10:30 because we have a budget amendment and some other stuff. So I think it's 10:30.
Okay. I want to thank all of you for coming in today. Appreciate it. I know maybe it seems frivolous to you guys, but to us, it's important that we do this right and we don't make a mistake.
Do you want our OSHA certificates all turned in before that? No.
Got everything that they can't submit.
Yeah.
One thing, on all these properties, no structure's gonna be changing when we're done.
Shouldn't be. I mean, you'll have a list of everything that has to go. Right.
I mean, on the
Right.
scope, it's just everything goes. Like,
Right.
some of the
Right.
owners gonna
Well,
put up
if
other things
if
there,
they're keeping anything, it will be marked out. Right.
Well, what's been conveyed to the landowners is that whoever's selected as the demo contractor, if the landowner wants to try and work something out with the contractor as far as recycling something or saving a shed, that's on the contractor and the landowner. The county and the program requires it to be raised, as per the specs.
Because there's been several questions about sheds and, I know someone was interested in purchasing one of the pieces of the house and move it. But basically what's been said to them is you have to work that out with the demo, whoever gets the demo contract.
Because you bid on that.
The county, and then we go to the contractor.
Can I ask a question? When that asbestos the abatement RFP comes out, what's gonna be the allotted amount of time? Do we know that for the asbestos? Because that part of that is also in that 90 days. So do we know what that says yet, or what's that time frame on that?
Alexis, did you hear that?
So,
Or go ahead.
we've been, trying to get that ready for approval for Tuesday. I think we're pretty close to publishing it, and I think our standards have been 2 or 3 weeks turnaround on it. So, like they want to.
It's gonna be 2 or 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
How many properties did you say, I can't remember, that we thought we needed maybe?
I think
11?
10 to 12 is,
No.
I think we worked
I
with
think there's
10 on the,
Now there's
Is that what I watched?
well, that's what we had on the.
I counted 8 on my sheet, but I need to check with Sandy because Sandy's been tracking and working with the asbestos inspection. So I think there was a few properties that we're having issues getting into, but then since then we've worked with the owners to let the testers in. So she put 10 on the sheet. I'm seeing 8, but it's around there.
But clarify, these guys aren't having to wait 2-3 weeks before the inspection
I
is
am
done?
not going to start.
Hey, I will weigh in on that, yes. Nothing can be done on the demolition side of it until the asbestos abatement is completed. But I'll kind of explain. And this is where the prioritization of the acquisitions will come into play.
Okay.
The properties that are in need of being abated will be strategically acquired along with the other properties that do not need abatement. So that way these demolition contractors can go in and start immediately on the properties that are not being abated while the properties that are acquired that need abatement can be done. So they're not sitting around, quote unquote, waiting on the abatement to be completed. So that's where the strategic nature of this acquisition project will have to come into play. But you're right. The demolition contractors cannot start, and this is where that 90-day window. This is why I keep saying it seems like it's a long time, but in reality, 90 days to acquire a property and get it completely demoed when you have to do testing and abating on properties, it becomes very challenging. And why we're front loading it, why we're trying to do testing ahead of time, because that eliminates a bunch of the processes. Number one, when you're testing ahead of time, you can actually let the bids out, which you guys are doing for the abatement company. So that way you're not losing 30 days just in the RFP and the approval process for them to just start on that, then have another 30 days given to abate it and get the full clearance of that property. We're doing this ahead of time. Why? Because that will afford everybody additional time to make this process work within that 90-day time frame. Hence, no excuses when it comes to hitting the 90 days. Instead of giving, in the past, we gave demolition contractors literally a week to demo a property. That was not abnormal. Now we're giving them anywhere from 30 to 60 days if something needs to be abated, or a full 90 days if there's no abatement necessary. So that way you can strategically pick who gets what and at what point through the process.
I have a quick question. So just to be clarified, the abatement and the demolition has to happen in the 90 days, correct?
Everything. The property has to become open space compliant in 90 days from the date of acquisition. So if the property is acquired on November 1, you have 90 days from that time frame. Everything has to be done. That property has to be flat in 90 days from November 1st.
Okay. Any more questions, concerns? If not, appreciate your time, people, and we'll let you know on Tuesday. Thank you very much.